Is Delaware in the house? Anybody from Delaware?
And hell no, Delaware ain't there. I don't think nobody there, Joe, but crickets and chairs. Next!
Holler loudly, man, because I want to see you after this is over.
Joe, I don't think you should be saying nobody. You've been hanging around Camilla Harris, and Camilla Harris been having a Wuhan.
Folks, please. Combined income.
And from the sounds of it, it looked like you do too. As a matter of fact, I know you don't because you've been having that cough for the last 4 years.
After 100 years of virtually uninterrupted wealth generation, the American economy appears to be faltering in ways that are scary to anyone who's paying attention.
Hell, you ain't got to be paying attention to the economy to know gas done went up by $35.
Even people who aren't paying attention can sense there's something really wrong.
Hell yeah, they can sense that by knowing ain't nothing right.
Lots of people are not working. Those who are working are getting poor quickly thanks to inflation. All of a sudden, everything is wildly more expensive. Have you noticed?
Hell yeah, and you can check my Cash App for that. As a matter of fact, if you like this video, you can send a super chat. Next!
About 107,000 of your fellow Americans, most of them young people who should have had long, productive lives, are instead dead. They have died from drug ODs over the past year. This is the saddest thing that has happened in our country in a very long time.
Maybe, but Joe Biden say, keep calm.
Look, I know you gotta be frustrated. I know. I can taste it.
Well, lots of us can't taste it, nigga, because we broke. We can't afford to buy the same type of food. So what we tasting is a little different now.
Instead, your representatives in Washington just voted to send yet another $40 billion to the Ukrainian oligarchs who paid off the president's son.
So we sending $40 million to the crackhead boss. Ain't that a bitch? We might as well send that shit to Russia and tell them motherfuckers to stop. Because they ain't gonna stop, so it's gonna cost us another $40 million in another 2 months.
You can add it to the approximately $14 billion they've already spent on Ukraine.
Believe me, I understand the frustration.
That brings the total as of tonight to more than $54 billion. How much is that?
Shit, 1 billion more than 53 billion?
Well, for perspective, it is more than we spent per year on average on the war in Afghanistan, a war that began with a direct attack on the United States.
And Russia didn't attack shit but Ukraine. They ain't sent a rocket, a missile, or a bullet over here in the United States.
54 billion. That's about as much as Russia, the country, spends on its entire armed forces over the course of a full year.
So we sending Ukraine more money than the Russian damn army costs.
It is a ludicrous amount. And yet Congress happily approved it. In fact, they allocated $7 billion more than Joe Biden asked for. That's how excited they were to do it.
You want 33 million? We're going to give you 40 million. You can keep the change. We're going to round it off to the nearest zero. The upper zero, not the lower zero.
So where's this money going? Oh, that's the best part.
For who? Definitely not Americans, because that's the worst part, because it's not going to us.
Congress has decided to fix all of the pressing problems that need to be fixed, except fix them in Ukraine, not here.
So you mean to tell me the Democrats going to give Ukraine more money than we give ourselves?
Then there's another huge chunk of cash to, quote, combat human trafficking. Now, not combat human trafficking in Texas, where it is now ubiquitous thanks to the open borders with Mexico, but to combat human trafficking in Ukraine. Because it's sad what's happening there, but not here. That's not sad. We're ignoring it.
Hell, how you going to stop trafficking in Ukraine? The parents are child trafficking their own damn kids.
There's still more money to make sure Ukrainians have emergency shelter, because apparently more than 1 million Americans aren't homeless tonight.
And they ain't got no emergency shelter. Some of them ain't even got temporary shelter, unless it's a cardboard box or a tent.
There's $900 million to make sure Ukrainians have access to, quote, entitlement programs. Our entitlement programs. They'll need them when they arrive here, as many will.
They be entitled to a free bus ride or a train ride, a telephone, and a motel voucher.
In other words, you can't afford to fill your truck, but you now get to pay the living expenses of anyone who shows up in your country claiming to be from Ukraine. And you will.
So you mean to tell me I gotta go broke just to make another motherfucker comfortable. Ain't that a bitch?
That would include $72 million for something the bill describes as, quote, research, development, test, and evaluation in Ukraine.
We doing research testing for $900 billion in Ukraine. What in the hell is we testing over there in Ukraine for $900 billion? What are we testing? Bombs?
Now, don't say biolabs, because that's not allowed, but honestly, this is weird. Ukraine is a war zone, and therefore probably not a great place for scientific research right now, but whatever.
Hell no, it's not, because when Russia find out, Russia gonna send a damn missile somewhere. Hopefully it's not over here.
As Congressman Thomas Massey has pointed out, Congress has now spent more money on Ukraine in 6 months than the U.S. government spent on all roads and all bridges in the United States over all of last year.
So you mean to tell me all that infrastructure shit Joe Biden was talking about and all the money he got for infrastructure, we spend more money on Ukraine than infrastructure? Next! The Republicans shouldn't have never signed that partisan bill.
But the fact is, congressional Republicans, not all of them, but the MAGA Republicans are counting on you to be as frustrated by the pace of progress, which they've done everything they can to slow down.
Ain't that a bitch? Wait a minute. Ain't the MAGA Republicans the ones that helped you pass your famous infrastructure bill? Now since you can't get what the hell you want, they outcast it. Next!
I think we all agree the most important thing going on in the world right now is the war in Ukraine.
But some Republicans still agree with you, Joe. They believe Ukraine is the most important thing on the face of the earth.
The $40 billion we're sending to Ukraine so they can secure their borders, by the way, is more than double what Joe Biden has asked to fund customs and border security in the United States.
Because making America great again is extreme, according to Democrats.
I had a chance to call the president last week and request that the Ukraine package move by itself and quickly.
Damn, man, which one of you is sending a budget to the DEA office fast as you can?
And then in the middle of this historic drug emergency, and it is, the bill spends more than 10 times the entire budget of the DEA.
That will hand power over to them and enact so they can enact their extreme agenda.
They MAGA extreme agenda. That's why Mitch McConnell ass was stupid for even agreeing with Joe Biden on anything with his little Ultra-MAGA comment. I kind of like Ultra-MAGA my damn self.
He said, let me think it over. He called back in about 15 minutes and agreed.
One bill, more than double what we're spending this year on our borders.
That we need to do this Ukraine only and quickly.
Quickly as possible. And Nancy Pelosi would agree.
The brutality of Putin is not just what he's doing in Ukraine, but the impact that it is having on food for the world. So when you're home thinking, what is this all about? Just think about when I was hungry, you fed me.
Bitch, who fed me? You? With some damn food stamps or a free damn food box? Come on, Nancy. You gotta do a little better than that. Next! Feed me with a hamburger or feed my baby with some damn formula.
I think we're on the path to getting that done.
And getting it done, as Mitch say, fast as possible. Next! The Democrats will send billions of dollars to Ukraine to help their border, but won't send $5 billion to ours to protect our border. Donald Trump only wanted 5. They're giving Ukraine 40. According to Ukraine Border Protection, $5 billion was a drop in the bucket compared to theirs.
The wall is, in my view, immoral, expensive, unwise, and when the president says, well, I promised a wall during my campaign, I don't think he said he was going to pass billions of dollars of cost of the wall onto the taxpayer.
But you're going to put billions of dollars of taxpayer money into Ukraine. Ain't that a bitch? I think America would have rather had them walls to help deter getting all that fentanyl in and help deter them illegal immigrants than a damn wall in Ukraine that we can't use or can't even see. That's why Joe Biden numbers is going down the damn toilet. Every damn day you turn on the news, Joe Biden numbers done took another dive.
Let's now talk about the President of the United States of America.
And it's not good for President Biden.
Troubling news for President Joe Biden, whose approval ratings have tumbled to the lowest since he took oath.
It has been a rough 24 hours for President Biden. Yesterday, the Supreme Court blocked his vaccine mandate for large businesses, and 2 senators from his own party dealt a blow to his efforts to pass voting rights legislation.
Caitlin, a recent CBS News poll shows the president's approval ratings are at a relatively soft 42%.
Joining us now, Harry Etten, CNN senior data reporter. These numbers are really tough.
A brand new poll from the Washington Post ABC News shows Biden's approval rating sinking to 41%, a new low, largely because of a negative shift among Democrats and independents.
Biden approval ratings was sinking faster than CNN pay-per-view news network show.
You know, John, I don't like just looking at one poll. I like looking at multiple polls. And there were 4 different polls released this week.
4 American polls by American agencies show the ratings for the Biden administration are just not improving. His ratings tumbled more among the younger generation than the older.
Quinnipiac, we had a Hart Public Opinion Strategies polls. That's with NBC or CNBC, Ipsos Reuters, CBS News, YouGov. I want you to look. These numbers kind of differ. They range from the low 30s to the low 40s.
But the point is, all the Biden numbers is still low.
A stalled Democratic agenda, a chaotic exit from Afghanistan, inflation at a 40-year high, and COVID frustration, all contributing to sagging poll numbers.
And I can name 20 more, but I don't smoke too much weed, and I probably done already forgot the 20 I was just about to name. There's a whole list of shit we can name. Next! Oh, I remember I was going to say, I was talking about Joe Biden inflation.
As Americans continue to battle economic pessimism and inflation woes.
Pessimism is right, because under Joe Biden, we sure ain't got no optimism.
Talk of inflation. The overwhelming consensus is going to pop up a little bit and then go back down.
We all know that was a damn lie. Inflation popped up, but it sure in the hell ain't went down. It popped back up again and again and again, and it's going to pop up one more time. Probably a couple of more times.
No one's talking about this great,
Yes, we is. Shit, inflation is costing us.
To the degree that people are focused on inflationary pressures in the short term, that really is not the issue.
Well, if that's not the issue, nigga, what is? Because we've been feeling inflation for the last damn year, and it's hurting our pockets.
Do you think that you and the president were wrong and inflation is not a short-term pop up a little bit and then go back down issue?
Yeah, but they won't admit it. All they're going to do is say they understand. How long have you been coming up with a damn plan to lower some gas? You've been coming up with a plan before the damn war started. As a matter of fact, you've been coming up with a damn plan since last damn year.
I know folks are concerned about inflation. I come from a family, and I mean this sincerely like most of you, where the price of gasoline went up significantly, the price of food went up. That's what we talked about at the dinner table and the kitchen table. It meant a lot.
Well, if Hunter Biden was at the table, he sure in the hell wasn't talking about no damn gas. He was talking about Pastor Parmesan cheese.
We felt it. We felt it. I understand. That's why I've got a plan to lower the cost for everyday things that make most people who work to have.
Work to have? Work to have what? Like nigga rent money? Which they've been coming up short on lately because they've been spending too much money on gas, Pampers, and diapers, and baby milk.
Right, but nothing you just mentioned, assuming that everything you're saying is accurate and comes to pass the way you want, nothing you mentioned would bring down grocery prices, would bring down gas prices.
Joe Biden talking about all his damn plans was supposed to save American money. I ain't saw us save no damn money yet. It happened then, it ain't now, and it's not in the future.
If you are standing by your statement and the president's statement that inflation is transitory, short-lived, when do you think inflation is going to go back below the 2% level considered normal?
Yeah, please tell us, because if it go back to under 2%, I might even think about paying child support. I'd be so damn happy to have a little bit of extra money in my damn pocket.
Is the Ultra-MAGA plan put forward by congressional Republicans.
Well, let us hear the Ultra-Biden plan put together by Joe Biden that's going to save us some money. That's the plan I want to hear. Not nothing about no damn MAGA, because MAGA ain't in power. Next! And MAGA ain't got no plan. That Rick Scott plan was not an Ultra-MAGA plan. That don't even sound like no Ultra-MAGA plan, higher taxes.
You recently put out an 11-point plan to rescue America.
To raise taxes on working families, lower the income of American workers.
Two of the big points of which are, quote, all Americans should pay some income tax to have skin in the game.
Let me tell you what would not be a part of our agenda. We will not have as part of our agenda a bill that raises taxes on half of the American people.
Now, that's probably one of the only things I agree with Mitch McConnell this year.
It also says all federal legislation sunsets in 5 years. If a law is worth keeping, Congress can pass it again.
Threaten sacred programs Americans count on, like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
And sunsets Social Security and Medicare within 5 years.
So that would raise taxes on half of Americans and potentially sunset programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security.
Your dumbass just gave the Democrats a talking point for the whole summer.
Why would you propose something like that in an election year?
And give them motherfuckers some ammunition to shoot anything. They was all out of bullets.
That will not be part of a Republican Senate majority agenda.
Well, I guess that's two things I agree with what Mitch McConnell said this year.
Sure. Well, John, that's, of course, the Democrat talking points. It's a
No, it's in the plan. It's in the plan.
As Kamala Harris say, it's in the plan. The plan. But Joe Biden say his plan is not going to help the rich. It's going to help the poor. Next! Joe Biden say he's not going to make the same mistake as Donald Trump.
And give break after break to big corporations and billionaires. Just like they did the last time they were in power.
Nigga, the last time we was in power, we had way more money than we have right now. Gas was less. We wasn't in war. Nobody was sick as they is right now. And we damn sure wasn't in a damn recession or in inflation.
But here's this thing about reality for a second. First off, let's talk about Medicare.
But Senator, hang on. John. So it's not a Democratic talking point. It's in the plan.
The plan and the talking point you gave them, dumbass.
I think it's good, a good thing when American families have more money in their pockets.
Nigga, since when? If you did, why we ain't got no more money in our damn pocket? Why you always working on getting us some more money in our pocket? It ain't never happened, and that damn stimulus check don't count.
But here's what's unfair. We have people that could go to work and have figured out how to have government pay their way.
We know that. Them all the Democrat voters, but we can't go at them because that would seem unfair, like we picking on people, like we punching down. We all know they cheating the damn system. That's what they ass do. They all liberals too.
American workers deserve a raise.
And some of these liberals need to raise up off their ass and go to work.
That's not right. They ought to have some skin in the game. I don't care if it's $1. We ought to all be in this together.
We all should be in this together. Are you still in Joe Biden lines, Rick Scott?
All this concern, American wages went up 5%. Oh my God. I thought that we're supposed to see happen.
Yeah, but not when inflation go up by 30.
We've got to have a plan for what we're going to do when we win. We're going to win. We have great people, but let's have a plan.
Yeah, why have a plan now when Joe Biden plan ain't working? We might as well just kick back and let him fuck up on his own. Any plan will work besides Joe. You can come up with a crackhead plan that will work better than Joe Biden plan right now. So the plan don't matter. Let Joe Biden fuck up on his.
The Republicans in Congress have proposed a plan that will make working families, American families, poorer.
Kind of like your ass is doing right now. How much more poor can we be than when your ass is in office? With all the high prices and inflation we going through right now.
That's why I said, go to Rescue America. Give me your ideas. If these ideas of mine aren't the best, let's come up with the best ideas out there.
Well, nigga, your ideas show in the hell wasn't the best. It was a Democratic talking point. And the show in the hell ain't no damn MAGA Ultra plan.
No, I'm not usually just discreet about my Republican friends. I've got along with a lot of them, used to anyway.
Who you talking about, Lindsey Graham? That's about the only Republican your ass got along with. I don't think the rest of the Republicans associate with pedophiles.
I think the majority of your colleagues want to focus on Joe Biden as opposed to coming up with a plan that they think that they can sell to the American people about what the Republicans would do. But anyways.
Hell, all we got to do with Joe Biden fucking up is come up with a plan what the Republicans will not do. That's better than the plan that what we will do. Next! Joe Biden say the inflation is nothing. We can come through it if we come to it.
The only nation in the world that has come out of every crisis stronger than we went in it. Every single time, regardless of what it was. No other nation has done that. It's one of the reasons why in some places we're called the ugly Americans. We think we can do anything. We know we can do anything.
Well, why don't you start, nigga, by lowering gas and become energy independent again? Let the world know we can do that. That's why America don't like your ass. The world probably like you or love you, but America don't.
Gallup poll data divides Biden's presidency into 3 distinct periods based on his average approval rating.
Shit, bullshit, and more bullshit is the 3 categories.
Right after Biden was elected till about June last year, almost 56% of Americans approved how he was handling his job as U.S. president.
As 70% of the American people, according to this poll, rate the economy negatively.
Just 37% of respondents approve of Biden's handling of the presidency and 55% disapprove.
Biden poll numbers have dropped every damn month during his presidency.
The first major dip took place in July and August of 2021 when the rating fell to 49%. The next major slip came in September when it fell to 42%. The survey reveals that during Biden's honeymoon period in office, both Generation Z adults and millennials approved of the job he was doing.
All the millennials and the Zs were trying to get a divorce during that damn honeymoon.
It's the baseline. It's comparing the result to the baseline. This was a jungle primary, so all the Republicans, all the Democrats ran against each other in one round. And what did we see? We saw the total GOP vote. Look at that, 66%, a 32-point margin.
National average support among baby boomers was at 53%. But this has now slipped, with the president seeing almost a 10% drop in support amongst the Generation Z, millennials, and Generation X.
And the only person who approve of him is President Xi, Generation Chinese.
Compare that to the 2020 presidential baseline. The Republicans outperformed this by 14 points. The margin then was only about 5 or 6. In terms of the margin, it was a 27-point overperformance.
And this time, Russia didn't interfere.
While traditionalists have maintained their stance, the Biden administration has lost considerable ground among the younger voters.
And the younger voters have lost a considerable amount of faith in old-ass Joe Biden.
This was the type of thing when we went back in, 2018, we're like, oh my God, look at all these great Democratic overperformances. This was a huge Republican overperformance.
That means it was a huge Democrat underperformance. They've been underperforming lately.
Meanwhile, Biden has also lost support of voters from the Hispanic black groups.
He should have lost their vote in '94 with that damn crime bill. They should have been knew he didn't like blacks or browns.
I do. So, again, it's not just about one poll. It's not just about one election. It's about looking at the elections in total. So these are all the GOP state and federal legislative special elections through this point in the year. This is the average margin, comparing this cycle with the last cycle.
The last cycle was some bullshit. We should have won the last cycle too. We was doing good in Donald Trump's government.
Early in Biden's term, he had job approval rating of 87% of non-Hispanic black adults, which fell to 74% last summer and now is at just 67%.
But under Joe Biden, blacks ain't never done good, no matter if he was a damn senator, the vice president, or the president. But my executive producer, Beth Roberts, always makes sure I'm doing good. My executive producer sent me 2 donations. Hell, it's my birthday month.
In 2022, the GOP, on average, is outperforming Trump by 9 points. What a switcheroo from where we were in 2018. where the GOP was underperforming. Look at this, underperforming Trump by 14 points. Of course, that led to a huge Democratic tidal wave that November.
That's going to wash out all the blue bullshit. Now it's going to lead to a huge red wave. This nigga Joe Biden ain't got a good approval on nothing, or with nobody, except the immigrants, of course, and the rest of the refugees.
It is almost 20 points lower than in the early stages of his presidency. Meanwhile, among the Hispanics, Biden's job approval has tanked to 52% from the high of 73% in early 2021.
Low 40s is not good either. But what's key is the lowest are tied for the low for the pollster. Lowest tier, lowest tier. This is 1 point off the lowest tier. And when you have 3 or 4 pollsters showing the lowest numbers for the President of the United States, that is indicative of a president who's in a lot of trouble, at least to where he has standed historically.
Joe Biden in deep shit, and the Democrats in deep shit, because they put us in deep shit.
Democrats are now ringing alarm bells over the latest numbers. They have warned that a significant dip in Latino participation could sink the party in districts all over the country.
Good for them, but that's a damn shame. The Hispanics woke up before the blacks. I wish the blacks would have been woke up as fast as the Hispanics. We would have been put their ass out of office.
Economic concerns. So, look, we spoke about this earlier in the week. If you look at jobs, the economy is doing pretty good. You look at inflation, not so good.
Well, hell, that means jobs is not doing so good. If inflation is not doing so good, but because inflation will suck up your little job numbers.
Because President Biden is out with a new budget with different priorities.
Yeah, priorities like migrant, Ukraine, and Afghanistan, and all them other damn countries.
Including things like spending on security, including a proposal for a new billionaires tax.
The billionaires tax. The billionaires already paying way more than they supposed to. They pay like 80% of the tax or some shit like that. Joe Biden just mad because they not paying no federal tax, but they paying the hell out of some state.
They say that's why we have inflation. They're dead wrong. Under my predecessor, the great MAGA king,
Donald Trump would like to thank you for that comment. That is no disrespect.
the deficit increased every single year he was president.
So what? Inflation, violence, murder, drug deaths, overdoses, and migrants rose up every year since your ass been in office. I'd rather take the debt.
The first year of my presidency, I reduced the deficit, literally reduced the deficit by $350 billion.
But even with that $360 billion decline, Brianna, experts I spoke to still scoffed at the idea that President Biden is personally responsible for having reduced the deficit.
Because we know that nigga not. He gonna take responsibility for that just like he took responsibility for the Trump juice.
In fact, told me that this claim is almost bizarro world, a reversal of reality.
Hell, Joe Biden is a reversal of reality and a reversal of intelligence.
The deficit was expected to fall by more than $360 billion at the time President Biden took office.
So he underperformed on the economy in the budget just like he underperformed on jobs, but he wanted to take credit for them.
In fact, at the time, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office had projected that the deficit would fall by more than $870 billion in 2021 if President Biden did not implement new policies.
So Joe Biden's spending didn't actually save. Joe Biden's spending actually cost.
Then President Biden came in and, like most presidents, Brianna, did new policy. There's a $1.9 trillion.
And no matter what Joe Biden said, that shit was added on to the debt. Next! Inflation went up, but your salary didn't.
If someone came along and said to my dad, I can guarantee that your salary is going to go up $500 a year every year for the next 10 years, or we can make sure your kid can go to college with a lot cheaper than it costs now. I can make sure your cost of electricity and energy in your home is down, not up. I can make sure that you're going to be in a position where you're going to have the roads in front of the house are going to be paved. What do you ask for?
Nigga, you should be able to do all of that anyway and still give me a raise. What the hell is wrong with doing both? Ain't that what you said you're going to do? America deserve a raise and lower taxes? So do both, Joe. I'd rather do both.
How do voters see it? How do Americans see it? This is the University of Michigan Consumer Confidence Index. Through this point of presidency, Look at that. Just 66 in April of 2022. Going back since 1978. It is tied for the lowest.
And you know what the lowest mean, Joe? That means your ass tied or broke a record.
It was 66 in April of 1982. Of course, that was a good year for Democrats in the House of Representatives with the Republican president.
Now we have a Democratic president, and it's not going to be too good because everything fall under Joe and the Democrats, especially when you got control of all three houses.
Historically, so far, Democrats' electoral fate is directly tied to Biden's popularity or lack thereof.
I would go with lack thereof because the Democrats don't even want Joe Biden to come and talk on their damn stage while they campaigning.
And I'll just note, if you don't believe that the economy is hurting the Democrats and Joe Biden, look at the net approval rating. That's approval minus disapproval. Joe Biden at this point, minus 23 points. That is the worst on record since they started asking about economic job approval ratings back in 1978 with Jimmy Carter, who, of course, ended up the economy ate his presidency and put it to bits.
Damn, Joe Biden got lower numbers than the numbers for the people that was president back when they were slaves. I mean, when we were slaves, not them. When black people were slaves. Ain't that a bitch? Wait a minute. That means your ass got the lowest in over 200 years. Your ass is competing with Jimmy Carter for the worst president ever. Next! No matter what Joe Biden and the rest of the Democrats say, we're in a recession.
Look, today is better than yesterday, and tomorrow's going to be better than today. And we're going to do that with policies that make sense.
Well, hell, I'd rather you come up with some policies that make dollars. Damn the sense.
To fix our supply chain, to end the pandemic, to grow jobs, to bring our manufacturing industries back to America.
Wait a minute, nigga. That's all the shit you supposed to done last year. You just now working on it this year, manufacturing and Corona and the rest of that shit. That shit was so 2020.
The State of the Union speech is an opportunity for him to pivot, and I hope that he does, because every decision this president has made over the last year has been to turn to the left.
Joe Biden is all the way to the left. I don't even think Joe Biden looked to the right.
Instead of turning to Republicans across the aisle to form bipartisan solution.
The only solution Joe Biden is concerned with is obedience. Joe Biden has to be the worst president ever. I give him the nod over Jimmy Carter.
Well, let's talk about history here. How does President Biden, compare to former President Trump in this stage of the presidency?
That's like comparing geniuses to idiots, and Joe Biden is the idiot.
You know, there was always that thing, oh, Donald Trump has the lowest approval rating at this point in his presidency. We did it over and over and over and over again. Well, at this point in his presidency, Donald Trump's number is actually, his average approval rating is 1 point higher than Joe Biden's, which is at 41%, Donald Trump at 42%.
Donald Trump can get higher than Joe Biden, but Donald Trump for damn sure can't get higher than Hunter Biden. That's for damn sure. I don't think a Boeing 747 can get higher than Hunter Biden.
A first-term president at this point in his presidency, this is the lowest.
So you mean to tell me Joe Biden got less approval rating than the Grand Wizard of the KKK?
This is the lowest for anyone who was elected to the presidency and didn't get up there through the vice presidency. This is a really, really, really bad number.
Damn, Joe Biden can't even get a better approval rating than a racist. Ain't that a bitch? Next!
Then there's the problem of, quote, food insecurity. Not here, in Ukraine. Food's getting expensive in Ukraine.
Shit, food is getting expensive over here, too. When the last time you tried to buy a pack of party chicken wings?
So we're going to spend $760 million to fix that, just in this check. And not just in Ukraine.
Damn, Joe Biden can fix what's broke in other countries, but he can't fix what's broke in ours.
Congress was feeling kind of sporty. Also added $150 million for something called the Global Agriculture and Food Security Program, because while we're feeding Ukraine, why not feed the rest of the world? We've got more food than we can use.
If we got more than enough food that we can use, why in the hell we ain't got no baby formula?
Remember those long lines you'd see in the television? People lining up in all kinds of vehicles just to get a box of food in their trunk.
Damn, Joe, who you mad at? You act like you was standing in line. Your ass wasn't standing in line to get the food or the baby milk. That's what we stand in line for now, baby milk.
And of course, that will obviously include baby formula too, because kids in other countries need to eat.
And kids in other countries got to eat before the kids in this country. Believe that. Tom, do you hear that shit? Tom do not like when immigrant kids eat before ours. Tom got something to say about that.
I know. Taylor Miller can't allow even a drop of formula to go to waste. So you're rationing formula?
Rationing formula. Yeah. Never did I think I would ever be rationing formula.
Not in the United States. Who in the fuck thought about recycling baby milk?
We literally have a shortage of baby formula right now. Did you think that would happen in America ever?
Empty shelves. This is really scary. And worried parents.
A couple stores we've been in, we have not had it, and we've had to go to the next location.
We'll literally waste a whole tank of gas in a day trying to find formula and maybe only find one can.
How quickly we forget people were hurting. And what did the MAGA crowd want to do?
Show not in the hell starve the babies.
They are looking for baby formula and not finding it, at least not easily.
I'm myself am down to one can of formula.
If Donald Trump was in office, you wouldn't have had that problem. He would have made some private sector make baby food. Maybe he would have turned the oatmeal company into a baby supply production company.
God, this is the United States of America. The idea that people would have to wait in line an hour, hour and a half to get a box of food.
What about the idea that people standing in line and can't get a box of baby formula?
At the end of April, nearly 40% of popular baby formulas were sold out across the U.S. That's up from 31% 2 weeks before. The shortage is getting worse.
And Joe Biden ain't helping making it no better. Joe Biden don't even talk about baby formula. I don't even think Joe Biden give a damn about the kids unless he's smelling their hair.
Right now, the majority of Republican friends just see things differently. They don't want to solve inflation by lowering the cost. They want to solve it by raising taxes and lowering your income.
And what plan did you get that plan from? I ain't never heard a Republican vote for higher taxes and a lower income. If they ass did, they wouldn't be representing the Republican Party because the Republican people wouldn't have voted their ass in. Next! It's even a recession for the babies.
This is a pain in the butt to find.
Baby formula, like many things, has been affected by supply chain issues. Making it worse, the Abbott nutrition plant in Sturgis, Michigan, one of the largest in the country, has been shuttered for months.
Now, you think I'm making this up. If I didn't see the actual document, I'd think I was making it up.
Well, nigga, you didn't see the actual document, and you are making shit up. You didn't see no damn documents, but I'm gonna make damn sure Jeffrey Yancey see the monkey's obituary whenever my hitman do his job. But there's one thing we not making up, is a shortage on baby food.
Meantime, retailers Target, Walgreens, and CVS are limiting the amount of baby formula products that can be bought. CVS is telling its customers they can only buy 3 baby formula products in one purchase.
For months. What in the hell done happened to the company when they couldn't get it fixed in a couple of months? If Donald Trump was in office, that company would have been fixed in a couple of days. We can't be having these babies out here with no milk. They should have knew a milk shortage was coming if the damn company was closed. Sometimes you gotta think ahead, Joe.
$40 billion. But there's no baby formula for American mothers and babies.
It's okay, baby. The Katy, Texas mom now feeds daughter Magnolia 2 ounces every 2 hours instead of 4 ounces every 4. In hopes of avoiding leftovers she might have to throw out because it's spoiled.
An unknown amount of money to the CIA in the Ukraine supplemental bill, but there's no formula for American babies and mothers.
Miller hasn't found even that for weeks. It is down to a 2-week supply.
Our biggest fear is that parents dilute the formula, and this is a big no-no. So diluted formula, it gives too little calories.
A February recall by manufacturer Abbott Laboratories contributed to the shortage, but experts say supply chain issues and inflation were factors well before then.
We should be paying attention to our country right now.
Taylor and her sister, who also has an infant, are used to hearing that. Increasingly desperate, they've asked others for help.
There's family in Louisiana. I had some friends in Georgia and Tennessee look. We have family in Delaware. I mean, literally coast to coast, and nobody has found anything.
Here's a formula for the destruction of democracy: repeating Putin's propaganda and disinformation and appeasing imperialist assaults on sovereign nations.
That was some of the most disrespectful shit I ever heard. While babies over here starving because they ain't got no formula, you want to joke about formula, then you sons of bitches want to send formula to the immigrants. Immigrants got more formula than Americans. Ain't that a bitch?
There were several agents that actually sent me text messages with photos and videos of not just boxes, but pallets.
Immigrants got pallets of baby food, and Americans ain't got a damn shelf.
Of unopened, unused, waiting to be used, baby formula and diapers.
I wonder, was that in the rescue plan? Rescuing immigrant babies with American Similac.
And we're talking lots of pallets. And this was at the Donna processing facility as well as the Ursula processing facility.
So immigrant processing centers got baby formula, but Walgreens, Target, and Kmart ain't got none.
I have it from several higher ups within the Border Patrol that more pallets are expected to arrive in the next 3 days.
And they're not talking about giving no Americans no baby formula for the next couple of months. Next! None of them damn polls are worth a damn. The main poll that I want to worry about is the poll that tells if Joe Biden is crazy as shit or not.
Ahead of his 79th birthday, a new poll has found that American voters are split on whether Joe Biden is fit and healthy enough for the presidency.
I'd like to raise a delicate subject, but with utmost respect for your life accomplishments and the high office you hold. A poll released this morning by Politico Morning Consult found 49% of registered voters disagreeing with the statement, Joe Biden is mentally fit.
Have you been tested for some degree of cognitive decline?
I've been tested and I'm constantly tested.
If your ass got tested once, your ass wouldn't be president no more. Your ass would be too unfit and your ass would have to quit.
In a new Politico Morning Consult poll, around 40% voters agreed with the statement that Biden is in good health, while 50% disagreed.
That 40% that said Joe Biden is in good health need to go get checked they damn self. CDC. If somebody voted for Joe Biden and still support him, they too stupid to know how dumb they is.
The president's campaign this week released an ad just really attacking your husband's cognitive ability, suggesting that he's lost a step or two in the last few years.
Why do you suppose such large segments of the American electorate have come to harbor such profound concerns about your cognitive fitness?
Specifically, have you taken a cognitive
No,
test?
I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test?
As far as you're concerned, is that a fair attack? Is that something that should be debated as part of the campaign?
Hell yeah, it should be debated as part of the campaign. It should have been diagnosed, not just debated.
Not even a majority of Democrats who responded strongly affirmed that statement.
Because sometimes even the Democrats got to tell the truth. Next! Joe Biden get offended every time somebody tell him he lost his damn brain.
Come on, man. That's like saying before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh?
No, but Hunter was taking crack cocaine before his ass enrolled in the Army, before, during, and after.
Look, all I got to do is watch me, and I can hardly wait to compare my cognitive capability to the cognitive capability of the man I'm running against.
Joe Biden, if I was you, I wouldn't be happy to compare my cognitive thinking to a 10-pound bag of shit.